Hello there, it's Linda Schmidt with Stampin' with the Hounds. Today I have several things to show you. So I'm in my Fun Fold series this month for July 2024. I was focusing on variations of the Z-folds. And I'm also going to show you the bubble technique, which is like a background. If you can kind of see that, but it's like right here. This is all made with bubbles. I'm going to show you how to do that, and then I'm also going to show you how I did the turtle's shell, how I used some of our metallic enamel effects. Ugh, I can't talk today, sorry. So I did this with just, I painted it on, and then I also figured out kind of a cool thing when I went to go clean. I did it by accident, but I used rubbing alcohol. Well, then I found out I can make my own shimmer spray. So it was kind of a cool thing. But so I've got several things to show you. We're going to start off with the bubble technique, and then I'll go into how we're going to do the double Z fold. Which is one that in my Fun Fold series that we're going to focus on today. So again, this is using that Sea Turtle stamp set that we've had in the catalog for a few years. And then I've also featuring some of the Country Woods Designer Series paper, which is new. And then some of the accent pieces here are from Seaside Wishes, which is a new die set and stamp set that we have from Stampin' Up. So like I said, this is that double Z fold. And with this fold, there's so many different ways that you can alter this piece, what I call the mini card. So you can make this narrower, you can make it, whatever, basically width. But I'm just going to be showing you this one today. And then another one I wanted to show you, this is what my card class is going to be doing. I'm calling this the mini Z fold. So it's just it's just basically your normal card folded in half. And then I'm just going in, I think it was 1.25 inches. Yep, 1.25 inches. And then I just fold that back. So, I mean, super easy, but it's just another kind of variation on the Z fold. And so here's another one where I did my dies with that bubble background. So after I did the technique, I die cut it with the deckled circle, and then I just added my little chair there. So that's kind of a fun one using that Seaside Wishes. And this is that Country Lace and Country Woods Designer Series paper. And then my other one, this is one that my class is going to be doing on the 16th, July 16th. So there's that bubble technique on that circle. And then we're just going to fussy cut the turtle for it, because there's no die for that little turtle. I wish there was. And then again, this features that Country Lace and then some of that brushed metallic or distress kind of foil paper that is in the online exclusives on the Stampin' Up website. And then there's that one. So that's the mini Z fold. But we're going to start with the technique. And what you need for this, to get that bubble technique here, is you're going to need some water and a straw. Now I'm using a aluminum straw, but you can use plastic or cardboard straw. And when I was doing this, originally I started with like a plastic cup, but I felt like I needed a little bit more stability. So I'm doing glass, just so I don't spill. You'll need some water, and then you can really use any type of liquid soap. Just because this is what I had down in my stamp room, because I also make my own soaps and lotions, and so I had this little bottle of Castile soap, and this works. It's been working great. But you can use Dawn, you can use any type of dish soap, hand soap. I think anything really works. So you need that, the water, the straw, and then you are going to need some ink refills. And I have found, as I've been playing around, the darker the ink, the better. So if you have like a really like a pastel or lighter color, it just doesn't show up as well on the technique. So we're going to be doing Summer Splash and Misty Moonlight. We're going to combine these two, but I wanted to show you some of because I was playing around with the technique yesterday, and you will need some rubber gloves and what I call a splatter box, because it does get messy. And then for cardstock, I was just playing around, and what I found, what I was liking best, was our thick cardstock, just the white. So this is like, nice and thick. And then The other one, and it's unfortunately it's retired, but I still had a pack of it. It was that shimmery white. It's got a little bit of kind of a really smooth finish. So if you have any of this laying around, that shimmery cardstock is what I really found worked well. And then I also played around with just some watercolor paper. And on this one, I don't know if I had ink in my straw, because this was early espresso, and I was trying to go for like a coffee, coffee splatter. But there's like, I don't know if it captures it on the camera, but there is some green. So I think I might have had something still in my straw. There might have been some of that summer splash still in there. But that's on the watercolor paper. So you can do that as well, because that's going to be nice and thick. But that was that early espresso. So these are both on watercolor. So this one, like, I just put it like over the cup, and then I lifted it up just because I wanted that ring. And then this one, I found if you get too many bubbles, and if you tap, keep tapping it around, it tends to blend and you really don't get that bubble look. So this one I'm not really happy with how it turned out, but I'll figure out something to use with it. And then this was with the Ezera Afternoon, which I thought was a really great blue. And that's on the white cardstock. I think all of these are just on the thick white. So, and then this one is on, actually, no, I brushed this with the shimmer after. I'll show you how I did that, but that's got a little bit of that shimmer on it. So again, here's one where I got too much and it just, didn't really give you that bubble technique, where you're not seeing those actual bubbles. So Ezera Afternoon, and then this one was boho blue, and then I did just at the very end, I just kind of squeezed a little bit of Ezera Afternoon. So that one, again, is very subtle, but that one kind of gives you that little two-tone, and this is just on our normal white, so it does kind of wrinkle up, a little bit. So I'll probably just use this mainly for die cutting. And then I think this was just boho, so that one got a little bit of pink as it dried, so it's kind of cool. Seeing how they kind of change. So that one I thought turned out pretty neat with all the different, it's got good texture on it. And then these were the Summer Splash. So see how light that is? It's very, very subtle. So that's why today we're going to add a little bit of Misty Moonlight just to see how it turns out. But these are just all on the white, just our normal white. So see how it kind of warps a little bit. And then this was another one where I just put it over the cup, and then I lifted straight up. So you kind of get that little perfect circle, which is kind of fun. And then here's another one with the watercolor paper. And on this one, I did Summer Splash and Ezera Afternoon. So that one's got that nice two-tone look. And then again, this is another one where I just did too much. My bubbles were too foamy, so it just basically made the paper all one color. So grab your scrap drawer, and that's what you basically want to kind of play around with when you're doing this technique to master it. So we're going to get started, and hopefully I'm not going to make a mess here, but I am trying to get my splatter box into screen and without getting, and I would recommend an apron, and definitely, like I said, plastic gloves, which I need to go grab right now here. Okay, because you will get inky fingers. And of course, these are Jeff's, so they're going to be monster huge on me, but good enough. And then, like I said, if you have an apron, wear that, or just, a shirt that you don't care if you get ink on it. Because the first time I did it, I splattered and I got ink all over my face. It was not good. All right. And then my splatter box is a DIY. I don't know if it's going to show in the camera here. I may have to zoom out. So I just took a cardboard box. So if you know, like the Tim Holtz, he's got like one that you can purchase. I just used one of my boxes. It was like kind of more of a square one. And I just made my own splatter box. So the purpose of it is it's going to have, the sides are protected and our back. And then I just replace, when you get your designer series paper, I'm just using that chipboard basically that I'll just replace periodically. All right, so we've got our little splatter box. We are going to take, and I'm going to do, we'll start with the thick white cardstock first, just to show you. And like I said, I prefer doing my little glass jar, but you can use a plastic one. And I'm finding that if you use something really, you know, short, that doesn't, you tend to make more of a mess or the chance of getting it on your face. So again, I'm just using a little jelly jar for it, but otherwise these little, what do you call it? These are the little wine, you know, plastic glasses. Like I said, you can use plastic, but I'm just going to pour in, and you know, some people have done like a tablespoon, a fourth of a cup. I just put in, it's probably, I don't know, maybe like an eighth. Yeah, it's hard to see, but just enough to put in there. And then for the ink refill, so I've already done, and what's nice about this too is you're gonna have enough, like this is from yesterday. So I still have, I just used one of our old Stampin' Up like embellishment containers to store it in, and it still works. So keep your containers, because you can go ahead and do that. So we're gonna do the Misty Moonlight today, since I already have my summer splash made up. So I got my water in there. You're going to take your ink refill, and you know, I've been doing, you know, 12 to 15 drops. You know, Misty Moonlight's pretty dark, so we'll start with 12 and we'll see how that does. So I'm just adding this right now to the water. So there's 12 drops. And then I like to give it a quick stir now before I add my dish soap. So that's all inked up. And then I am going to grab, just so I have it here, I can find it. Oh yeah, I just got some baby wipes just to clean off my straw in between. So I just have that set off to the side. Or paper towels, whatever you have handy. I'm just going to use the baby wipes since they're there. All right, and now we're going to add our soap. And with the soap, you really only need like 1 or 2 drops. If you do any more than that, it gets to be way too sudsy, and your bubbles will be smaller and not like the big ones that you want. So this thing has a pretty generous opening. So sometimes I tend to get 1 or 2 drops out of this, but I'm finding, yeah, I probably got way too much there. It came out fast, so. All right, we'll see how it goes. And then you want to just lightly give it a little stir. And then what we're going to do is we're actually going to blow our bubbles. So I'm going to just shift this back just a little bit. And then get your cardstock ready. So another thing too, if you have like some little handheld, you know, tweezers, you can use that too if you don't have your gloves. But since I've got plastic gloves, I should be fine. So again, I'm using that Whisper White, the thick cardstock, and I'm going to, let's see if I can do this without getting my whole entire head in the in the camera. All right, we're gonna blow bubbles. Now, what I have found is if you keep that straw holding onto the glass, keep the straw kind of basically at the base, and gently, the key, gently blow. So you blow until you get the bubbles coming up to the top, and then you're just going to tap very gently, and see, that's how you're getting those bubbles. So you just tap very gently. Isn't that cool? I love it. So I like some of that white space. So I'm going to leave that one as is. So we'll let that dry. So that was Misty Moonlight. Now I want to see, I'm going to do my Summer Splash. I'm going to do 2 of them. So we're going to do this blue again. And before I do that, I probably should get my other jar. Let's see here. We'll just use this plastic one, because I don't want to blow into this thing. it would go everywhere. So like I said, this is my mixture from yesterday. So you get quite a bit. So this is a great one, you know, grab your kids, you know, have a fun, you know, rainy day summer project. And then very important too, when you're going from color to color, make sure you blow out some of that extra, you know, the ink from your previous one. Oh, sorry. Ezra is playing in the background here. She's digging. All right. So we're going to blow. So again, when you're blowing, you blow until those bubbles start to rise. And see how this is like really tons of bubbles there? That's when you start to get way too foamy. And what I don't like that, oops, sorry, I did the wrong side. That's when I start to get, you know, it's like big clumps of color. Because you're just very gently tapping. See how there? So then when that dries, sometimes it gets to be a big cluster. So I'm going to blow just a little bit more here. Well, hello, Miss Ezra. She's right here. She's like, what are you doing? All right. So, and then what I found too is like, you know, as you keep doing this, it starts to get really, really sudsy. So that's when I'll, you know, tend to either take a break from it and let it settle down. Before I use it again, because I want to kind of avoid that foam. All right, so that looks pretty good. So now let's go ahead and do, since I got this big blob, we'll see if I can get some of that. Because then I want to show you, when you get the bubbles here at the top, you can take your cardstock then, press down until you touch the, you know, the rim of the cup, and then lift straight up, and that's how you're getting kind of those perfect circles. Okay, this one's getting pretty sudsy. So I'm going to stop on this one, and we're going to switch to the Summer Splash. So again, this is where, even with my splatter box, so far I'm pretty good. But it is a little messy. So it's probably a good thing to, you know, do outside, you know. All right, so we'll just kind of wipe up some of this excess ink here. All right, set that aside. And I'm just going to blow my straw because I want to get that blue ink out of here. So if you're using plastic straws, I would do a straw for each color. Okay, that seems to be clear now. All right, so now this was my Summer Splash that I had already, this is from yesterday. So I'm going to blow, get my bubbles going. So you want them to kind of come up to the top. And then we're going to grab this other one that had Misty Moonlight. Now let's do some of the Summer Splash on it. Ooh, I like that. That's cool. Fun. Love it. How cool was that? I feel like I'm in grade school again. Art class. All right. And let's do one more to do this other one, and then we'll kind of go on to the fun fold part. All right. So see again, when it starts to get really sudsy, that's when you're going to get, you know, more of those finer bubbles and stuff. So, but very gently, gentle is the key. So it's a slow blowing bubbles. All right, so this one where we had the Misty Moonlight, I'm going to do kind of this on the bottom. So I'm just kind of gently tapping. Let's blow a little bit more. Ooh, look at that big bubble. Perfect. I'm going to do one more because I kind of want to get that little like circle ring at the very top. So press down. Here we go. It's very subtle. But yeah, that's kind of, I like that with the two colors. So that turned out pretty cool. And then you just set these aside to dry. I think I'll leave that one with the Misty Moonlight. So super fun. All right, I'm going to quick pause this, clean up my mess, and then we'll start doing the fun fold. Okay, so now I've got everything cleaned up. Oh my gosh, you guys, I made such a mess. My plastic cup broke, and I had ink everywhere. So thank goodness I had paused the video because it was a nightmare. All right, so now we're going to go into how to do the double Z fold, and then I'm also going to show you how I made the turtle's shell with that, and then how to make your own shimmer spray. So we're going to start with the double Z fold. So the supplies that you'll need for that, your card base, and you can do, I tend to sometimes use 2 different color cardstocks, but you can use the same cardstock if you want. It just depends on what your design is. I'm using gray granite for my base. So this is a half a sheet of cardstock cut, you know, the long way. And it's going to be 4 1/4 by 11. And then we're going to score it 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. Then for your, because we're working on the back piece here, this piece here is a just your standard 4 by 5 1/4, and I'm using designer series paper, and this is that Country Woods, so that'll go there. And then this panel here and this panel, you can use the same, you can use different designer series paper or cardstock. I'm using 2 different patterns. I'm going to do Country Lace, and then I'm also going to do the Country Woods again. So these are both 2 1/2 by 4, and those are going to go basically on that back, your card base. So it's going to go here, here, and then there. And then what I call the mini Z fold, that's your other piece. That one, and I'm using Misty Moonlight, is 3 1/2 by 9 3/4, and then we'll score at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. So that's your mini card. And then same thing here, we're going to decorate each of these panels. So for my main front, this is that bubble background, one of them that I had made up using the ink refills and the dish detergent and water, and like blowing, you know, bubbles. So that's what we just did. So I'm using that. And that again was 3 1/4 by 4. And then these two are both going to be 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. And I'm going to do a designer series paper on one. I'm not sure which one I'm doing yet, but, and then I'm using Petal Pink cardstock to go against that, because I thought the white was a little too washed out. So I thought I would do that Petal Pink. So again, that's 2 1/2 by 3 1/4. So lots of little pieces, but it's fairly simple. So let's get our scoring done. So these are all for my mini card. So we'll do our card base and our mini card. So again, on the card base, on the long side, we're going to score at 2 3/4 and 5 1/2. Okay, that's the card base. Then for the mini card, we're going to score at 3 1/2 and then 9 3/4. Oh, I'm sorry. Oh my God, I looked at that wrong. Sorry. 2 3/4. Oh, I totally messed that up. Oh, Linda. All right, hold on. We got to cut another piece of cardstock. I was looking at my measurements. Oh, Linda. Always something with me. All right, let's cut another piece of cardstock here. I may have to. All right, let's try this again. So we need to cut. This piece needs to be 3 1/2 by 9 3/4. Oh, Lord. Okay, try this again. Cut this at 3 1/2. And 9 3/4. And then let's score it correctly. All right, we're scoring at 2 3/4 and 5.5. All right, so 2 3/4 by 5.5. All right, whew. And that's it for the scoring. All right, so we will go ahead and get these folded. All right, so your card base, you'll bring this in like your normal folds. We're just going to fold this in half. So again, this is that gray granite. It's like one of my favorite neutral colors. Okay. So there is our card base. Now we need to make that Z-fold. So we're going to bring this one back. So when you look at it, you've got that Z. Okay, so that's the base. So now let's go ahead and put our panels on. So these were, oh, those are for my mini ones, sorry. This was going to be my back piece. So this was at 4 by 5 1/4. Yeah, I really like this country wood paper. And I know this is like a C, but we really don't have any beach themed paper this year, but this, I think it really kind of reminds me of like a beach house, the colors. So it's working for me for my ocean and beach cards. And same thing with the country lace. I think it kind of all coordinates. All right, and then this panel, this is at 2.5 by 4, and this is that country lace. So these two paper packs really do coordinate well. So this is kind of what looks like little sand dollars. I mean, they're flowers, but you know, it's working for me. I'm going to call them like little sand dollars. And then the back side is like a denim. So this is that petal pink. And then my other one, this was at 2.5 by 4. So this is on the left side. All right, so that's the back of our card. All right, so now let's go ahead and do the mini card. So same thing, this one, you will, hold on here. Yeah, we need to go this way. So we're gonna fold the larger section as a mountain fold. We've got that. And then now this piece, you're going to make like your backward Z. So that's just going to come in. So now that you've got the Z going the other way for the mini card. All right, so then our panels, we have, and I wasn't quite sure what I wanted. So this is going to go on my front. And then this will be for the same, but I didn't know if I wanted this or I could throw in, no, that's too much of that peach. Yeah, we'll still keep that wood in there. So, all right, so since this was our bubbled piece of paper, see how it's kind of warped a little bit? I'm going to use some liquid glue on this piece just to hold it in place a little bit better. But I did want to show you before I do this, because I'm going to show you how I did on the turtle. But the other thing with these metallic elements, because a lot of times I think this kind of gets overlooked in the catalog. So I'm just going to use, with the glass mat from Stampin' Up, you do get this little add-on piece here. that you can hold. It holds your ink pad. You can do like your little ink, you know, make your little ink palettes. So I'm going to be doing that with the metallic elements. So you get all three of these. So there's a silver, a copper, and a gold. So I'm going to use the silver, and on one of these little palette things here, I'm just going to squeeze. And since I'm going to be covering, I'm going to put quite a bit on here. Okay, so squeeze out enough. Now, normally, like when you do this, you do like these little, you can make like your own little embellishments, but it takes a really long time to dry. I always want to do it for class, but oh my gosh, it gets to be too much. Now, you can, and I will show you how I do that on the turtle. I'm just taking an old watercolor brush, and there's no water in here. It's dry, but this is one where the bristles are kind of seen better days. So I'm going to add a little bit of rubbing alcohol. So this is like 91%, I think is what I've been using. And I'm just going to drop a little bit in there. And I just start mixing it around until it starts to get, more of like a liquid. Yeah, look at that brush. It's seen better days. All right, so now, because I want to add some shimmer, so I'm going to take this and I am going to just brush this over my cardstock. So I'm going to make my own shimmery paper. And because it's got that alcohol in it, it dries really quick. And I'm just kind of going back and forth. And you can add a little bit more of the rubbing alcohol. And then mix it up. And then just kind of go back and forth. All right, and then what I do is I rinse this off, with some water, because you don't want this enamel, because it'll harden your bristles. So just use like I said, just an old paintbrush or anything. Like I said, this is an old aqua painter that had just seen better days. All right, and then I'll clean that a little bit better afterwards, but at least I got most of that enamel effects off of there. And then I just either take like a baby wipe or just a damp towel. I just want to clean this really quick because you don't want it sitting in here and hardening either. So that's how you can do your own little shimmery paper. And then we'll just, as it dries, I don't know if I can get that on the film or on the camera or not, but it's got a little bit of sheen there. Isn't that pretty? Fun. And I just figured that out by myself. I'm sure someone else probably figured it out. I just found it out. I just played around when I was cleaning the brush. I was like, oh man, I need to get the rubbing alcohol on here to clean off. And then when I was blending it, I'm like, oh, look at that. It's shimmer spray. All right, just make sure all of this is off of here. So we'll do that on the turtle as well, but we'll do the copper, which is kind of fun. Okay, so set that aside for now. All right, so let's go ahead and get these pieces adhered to our mini card. So this was that petal pink, which I'm just doing for my greeting. And then let's see here, flip it that way. And then again, I'm going to use that liquid glue on this one, just because this paper is, oops, just need to unclog my glue. There we go. Haven't used it yet this morning. Okay, there's that. And I just smooth it out with my finger sometimes just so that it doesn't ooze out when I press it onto the card. Okay, and then this is going to go on this left panel. And then I'm just going to give it a swipe with my bone folder just to smooth that all out and make sure it's adhered. All right, so then that is that little mini one. So now what you're going to do to put these together, so you've got your base, this is the mini card, and so what I do is I just kind of eyeball, you know, where I want it, you know, where it's all closed, okay? So I've got it centered, and then I just, you know, hold this in place. And then knowing that we only want to put adhesive here, before I do that, because I want to use my tear and tape. Let me grab that really quick. Just because this is a piece that's going to be moving all the time, I want a strong adhesive. So I just want to be putting that tape just right on that edge here. Hold that in place, and then the other side, before I do all of this, I just want to flip this. I think I'm going to do this one first. Yeah, we'll tape this one down first. All right, so now this one, what I do is I'm going to turn this, so I've got it where I want it. I'm going to turn this upside down, holding it in place. This whole panel will get tape on it, or glue, so I'm going to use some liquid glue. And then I'm just going to close this. Okay, so now that is held down. Okay, so that's the bottom part is all held in place. So that this one, now I can just remove that and close it shut. I mean, you can do either side, but I just found that if I did the back one first and adhered it, it just made it a little bit easier. So again, keeping everything closed. Now just plop that down. And now you have your double Z-fold. Fun. And it's not, you know, really thick, which is nice, you know, for cards, as long as you don't go too crazy with your embellishments. But all right, so now let's go ahead and let's do our sea turtle. And I already stamped him once. So because what you're going to be doing, and I'll show you, but I've got one because I needed to let it dry. That's his shell that I made. So I first took the sea turtle, and on this set, this is a reversible. I just got to peel them off because we got to do the opposite side first. All right, so one side will give you the texture, the shell. The back side is smooth, okay? So what I like to do on this turtle, so this is Coastal Cabana cardstock, and then I'm going to ink him up, the smooth, the solid part, with Summer Splash, which is a little bit darker than Coastal Cabana. Because to do this technique, because I like to have that the shell kind of be like a 3D effect, I stamped that turtle twice. So the one you cut out all by himself, and then you'll do another one, but you're only using the shell from it. But we're going to make because I'm working on the shell right now. So we're going to ink up the whole turtle. Oh, I got a little dust on my ink pad there. All right, so this is a Summer Splash, which I said this is an in color, and this is a little bit darker than our Coastal Cabana. And because this is photopolymer, I'm using my foam matte. And we're just gonna, because we have to cut this out, so we're just doing the solid one first. Just make sure it's all inked up. And if you still have your stamping platform or Stamparatus, these types of sets work perfect for that. All right, now let's give it a quick clean. All right, and now we'll do the other side with Misty Moonlight, which is darker. Just make sure all that ink is off, and then very gently peel them off. All right, so now we're doing the textured side, and that's going to be in the Misty Moonlight. And then we'll stamp directly on top. Excuse my head. All right, so that's the turtle. And then you'll just have to fussy cut that one out, but we're going to just do the shell. So what I'm going to do is just fussy cut this right now, just his shell. I'm cutting off his legs, so sorry. And when you fussy cut, you want, instead of making the blade, you know, twisting and turning, you really want to just take that cardstock and rotate, you know, turn the cardstock and kind of keep that blade just in, you know, in place. And for this one, I am cutting fairly close to the edge. Normally I like to leave a little bit of border, but because I only want this shell, I'm just going to cut closer to the edge. Then what I like to do, and it is a retired product, but you know me, I tend to keep my stuff. So this was that hammered metal embossing folder. So I'm going to place this in. Oh, you can tell I got some ink in there. Yeah, that's the only thing when you have an image that's been inked up. Make sure you clean your folders, because that ink, it does transfer in there sometimes. So make sure that's dry. Okay, so I'm just going to plop this in so I can get my texture on my tortoise shell. I'm just going to do this off screen. So now I've got some of that little texture on there. Okay, now to get that kind of tortoise shell look, I'm taking now the copper enamel effects, and I'm not doing the rubbing alcohol this time. I'm just going to paint this on dry with a paintbrush. I think I've got a different one I think I may use here. We'll do one of my cheapie. So again, this one you won't need, well, let's see here. We'll just start with a little dab. And so now let's take a nice flat brush. And then you're just going to paint. Yeah, I will need more. Over it to give it that tortoise shell. So no water, no rubbing alcohol at this point. This is just going on dry. And I thought this is kind of cool because I was kind of playing around with it. So I just went on white cardstock and I was just making brush strokes. So that's all just, you know, the enamel effects brushed on dry. So it's kind of fun. I'll figure out what to do with it, but I was just playing with it. And then even, this is one now, this is with that rubbing alcohol. So see how you get that little shimmer? So you can do that a really pretty watercolor wash background with this too. But since this has been texturized, it really does kind of capture that tortoise shell effect that I was going for. All right, so then this is what I did when I went to go clean. I'm like, oh, I'm going to clean my brush, so I'll just use, I've been using the rubbing alcohol. So when I put the rubbing alcohol in here, this is now, again, you get that liquid, and now you get that shimmer, you know, like your Wink of Stella, but it's in copper. So super fun. Love it. Cool, cool. I always like it when I come up with something new, or what's new to me at least. But it's kind of a neat effect. All right, so I'm just kind of cleaning off my brush here. So see, now with more of that rubbing alcohol in there, it's really, now you can get lots of sheen. So pretty. And because it's the alcohol, it dries fairly fast. So super pretty. Love it. But we'll just clean that off. And like I said, just make sure you clean this. I tend to always have hand sanitizer. Works really well with cleaning your glass mat or rubbing alcohol. And it also works good on your silicone, your craft sheets or your silicone mats. That rubbing alcohol or hand sanitizer, it just kind of gets all that stuff off of there. All right, so that's it for the fun techniques. So you got three for one in today's video. A little bit longer video, I apologize, but I just had so much stuff to show you. So this is a little damp. You know, it's kind of a little tacky. So I'm going to let this dry. I'm going to use the one that I made yesterday instead. So we'll do another one. So now this is the turtle that, again, I was on Coastal Cabana. I stamped it in Summer Splash, the solid, and then I did the Misty Moonlight and I fussy cut them out. And then here's our tortoise shell that we just did. Now I want to give it a little bit of shape. So I'm going to take my bone folder and I'm just going to kind of curl like you do curling ribbon. I'm just giving a little bit of shape to my tortoise shell. And then I'll just use dimensionals to pop. And I kind of just did, let's see, when I did my sample, I think I just ran them down the middle. And so on this one, I did do, I did basic beige on the one I did yesterday, and then this is the one that was on Coastal Cabana. So, I mean, they look the same. I mean, color, when you look at it color-wise. So, I mean, you will see a little bit on the edging, but, so yeah. So we'll just put a little bit of dimensionals down the center. And then, let's see here. Yep, goes this way. And now that just gives our turtle just a little bit of shape. And then if you want, you can always kind of take your fingernail and kind of rough up the edges just to give it that more tortoise shell rustic look. Kind of fun. All right, so that's our little turtle. All right, so now we have to finish our card. So now this is all dry. There's that shimmer, that silver metallic elements that we brushed on with the rubbing alcohol. So I'm just going to have my little turtle go here. And I did a bunch of, from the Seaside Wishes, I have a bunch of stuff already kind of die cut. I did, oh, this is the one I was going to show you too. This one, this is on Petal Pink. And then this one, I brushed the gold onto it. So it gives it that little bit, kind of darkens up that petal pink. I thought that was really pretty. And then on my sand dollars, this one I did the copper, and I just brushed that on. And this was when it was with a little bit of the rubbing alcohol. So that's kind of just on there. And then this one I had inked it with Basic Beige, and then I did the silver brushed on dry to give it a little bit of shimmer. And that was on just basic white. And let's see here. And then that's another one. This one isn't stamped. This is just brushed with the silver. And that's again on that white. And then here's another one where I stamped it in the Basic Beige, and then I did that silver brushed on top of it. And that was just dry brushed. It didn't have the rubbing alcohol in it. Fun. I love it. It's so cool. All right, so let's see here. We need to decorate. I'm going to make this a birthday card. So now that I've got that shimmer on there, I'm hoping we'll try our fish. We'll see how our fish stamp. We're going to learn as we go. So I'm going to do Misty Moonlight. And I got my little sea of fish. So I'm thinking my turtles here can have these kind of going that way. And I think I'm going to do my saying in the blue. I think I may do my fish in the Summer Splash because I want that to be a little bit more subtle. All right, so we are just going to wing it. We'll just put some fish here. Going to see how this stamps. So I'm holding it just a little bit longer just because I've got that paint on here. Yeah, it's not very, that may not work. Okay. So I will have to figure out something else for my saying. I just won't put a saying on the front. We'll just do some fish. So what I needed to do was stamp my fish first, and then paint over it. So live and learn. I'm going to give this a quick shot with the okay. So very subtle. So let's go ahead and glue him down. Oops. That's all being held in place. And I think we'll add some little gems on there. We could do some of these. Let's see. These ones, these are the they're on the loose frosted dots, so you do have to add adhesive to these. And I'm just going to use our fine tip glue. I think this should work. If this thing is not clogged. Oh good, it's working. So I will do just a few of these. Let's see here. That's a little too peacock. I think I just might do these pink ones. You can have pink bubbles. And there's Ezra. She's ready to do her exercises again. Yeah, she does her little, we call it, she's digging. Digging to China. Something like that. So I usually position them where I want them. and then I take the glue and put the glue down. And then you just need to hold that while it dries. It usually dries fairly quickly. Okay. I know, Ezra. Oh, there we go. I just press that just to hold that in place a little bit. All right, and then I'll probably add, I'll probably come in later. I'll do something with the saying on the outside. Let's do then for our, because I know this is going to be a birthday card, but I love this little, this is from a retired saying, but I always like this: take time to do what makes your soul happy. And sea turtles make my soul happy. When I, oh my gosh, it was like years ago when I was in the Keys, we went to Marathon, Florida, and they've got that sea turtle rescue hospital. Oh, it was so interesting. I mean, and then kind of sad too, but you got to see, you know, all the turtles that they're rehabilitating, or some that are just, you know, lifetime. They're just always going to be there at the hospital. But we had, you could adopt them, and then of course you just make a donation and stuff. And there was Bubble Butt was the one that I had adopted. But yeah, he was a cute little turtle. Okay, and then I had a bunch of these. I'm thinking I may have that little sand dollar kind of peeking out, because I think this is too much peachy. Do the smaller one. Yeah, I think I'll just do this little smaller one. Then I can put my other sand dollars over here. So we'll do this. A little bit of liquid glue. Let's see here. Yeah, this was some of that retired, it was like a brushed kind of metallic kind of paper, but it had like this plastic coating on the back, and so it was always, this paper was always such a struggle to die cut. I mean, this thing took me forever to get all the holes out. Even with my little fabric bounce sheet technique, it did not want to come out. Yeah, so this paper was, I mean, it's retired. I'm like, oh, that's probably why. Nobody could die cut this stuff. All right, and then I've got my little turtles, which these I kind of fussy cut out. I'm thinking if I do something like that, and then got some of these other little starfish. And then that seagrass too. Yeah, I think I'll just do those over there. Okay, so this, I think since I've got that blue, I think I may do my saying now instead. I'm going to do it in Summer Splash, just to kind of give me some green on this side. I just love this color. So we'll put that in the green. And then we'll attach our sand dollar. I think that's too big. I may do some of my little seagrass here. So I did, and really, gosh, this Coastal Cabana and the Summer Splash. So let's see here. This one is Coastal Cabana. I don't know if it's going to show on the camera or not very well, but it's just a little bit lighter than Summer Splash. Just a little bit, not. The ink, I can tell, the ink is always, I think, definitely different. All right, I need my longer, let's see here. I was always like, which direction does this grass go? Oh, that one I gotta. I think I like it like that. So we'll do a little. Ah, the struggle is real with the grass. Oh, Miss Ezra, I know. She's like, just glue it down, Mother. I futz around. Someone better appreciate this card, right? For as long as it takes me to make stuff. Oh, sometimes I'm just like, there we go. Something like that. And then we got our little turtle. And then I think I may do a little star. Yeah, something like that. All right, we're just going to call it good. Glue it down. Okay. Before I just need to, just had kind of a pointy edge there on his head. I didn't like how that looked. There we go. Soften that up a little bit. Got our little baby. I will just kind of put it like right there. Okay, we'll just glue this one down. All right, so that is the bubble background technique, the make your own shimmer paint with the metallic enamel effects, and your double Z-fold. So thanks for hanging in there with me. I hope you had fun, learning some of these techniques. I would love to see some of these, try it out yourself and post to my Facebook group page, Stampin' with the VIP Hounds. I always love seeing everybody's creations. But thanks again for joining me today. I hope you had fun, and I will stamp again with you soon. Have a great and creative day. Bye-bye.